In this section, we're going to look at linear functions, which is interesting, right? We've graphed lines and we know what a function is. A function takes an input and maps it to a unique output. That means a line is actually a function. So if we have these two graphs, you can see that my x values, if I have this x value, it only has this y value. If I have an x value of 1, it only has this y value of 4. So whatever I have as an input, I only get one output. Now, on these, I do want to write the rule that describes the function. That is, we just need the equation of the line. In slope-intercept form, remember that's y equals mx plus b, where m is slope and b is y-intercept. So I'm going to start with this one. Here's my y-intercept. That's at 2. So I have y equals whatever my slope is times x, and that's a positive 2, so plus 2. Now I have to find my slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. I see right here that that spot is at a full point, and then here's another one at an intersection. So I'm going to go up 1, so there's my rise, and I'm going to go over 3, so there's my run. So that means my line has a slope of 1/3, 1 up, 3 over. It is positive, so 1/3 x plus 2. There's my line. That's the equation of my line, but it's also the function rule. Whatever I have for an input, divide it by 3, then add 2. We can do the similar thing over here. Our y-intercept here, we can see that this thing is going to cross the line right here at 7. So y equals something times x plus 7. And then we need what our slope is. Here I'm going to go down 1, and I see these 2 points, right? 1, 2, 3, and then that's -3, so then my rise is -3, my run is 1. So I would have -3 over 1, but over 1 is just the same thing as that. So I have -3x plus 7 is y. So whatever I have for an input of x, I multiply it by -3, then add 7 to it, and I get y, my output. So slope-intercept form is a function rule. It tells me how to change an input to an output. Here's another example. It says this table is a familiar pattern from geometry. So x is one side of this square, and what's y? Well, let's think about it. When x is 1, y is 4. When x is 2, y is 8. When x is 3, y is 12. And what you can see is we actually have a rule. It says write a function that relates y to x. Well, y is equal to 4 times x. Why is that the case? Well, because if I have 4 sides of a square, then the whole distance around the square is 4 times x. And so what do the variables x and y represent? X is side length, and y, the distance around, that would be perimeter. And so in order to find the perimeter of a square, you just multiply a side length by 4. Now it says graph the function. Well, we just wrote the function rule, y equals 4x, but that's also a linear equation. So if we sketch a set of axes, and we put x where x goes and y where y goes, x, y, then we know when there is no side length, there is also no perimeter, so 0 is valid. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I know that my slope is 4, so I have to go up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, and so here's the function graphed. Okay? So like I pointed out earlier, lines are functions. Remember, function means each input has only one output. That is, each x has a unique y. And if you think about that in terms of an ordered pair, x, y, remember, is a point. If I had an x, say here's an x value of 3, and it could map to 4 or 7, then I would have a point here at 4, 3, 4, and I would have a point here at 3, 7. And I could draw a line through there, and that line would hit both of those points. But that's not a function because this input mapped to outputs, and that's not allowed. Which gives us a test to see if something is a function. If we can draw a vertical line and it only crosses the graph once. So like if I had a funny curve that looked like that, that's actually a function because any place I draw a vertical line only crosses the graph once. So every input only has one output. However, a vertical line itself is not a function because it crosses, we have this line that's going through multiple points. The input is always 3, the output is always something different. Another example here, it says use the graph to write a linear function that relates y to x. So they plotted a whole bunch of points, but look at this. We see where it crosses the y-axis, so we know our b is -3, and then it's just a matter of finding slope. And I'm going to do this just by going like this. I'm going to count. Right? I just went up 1, 2, 3, and I went over 1, 2, so rise over run. M is 3 over 2, so y equals 3 over 2x plus -3. Now, if you wanted, you could do subtraction, right? You could say, okay, yeah, but slope is really y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, and so pick your points. If I picked this point, I would have y1, which is 0, minus y2, which is -3, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is 0, and minus -3 is 3, 2 minus 0 is 2, so 3 halves. So it doesn't matter if you count or if you do the algebra, your slope is 3 halves. There is a linear function. It's a linear equation, but it's a function because each x maps to one y. This says do it again, but now we're going to use a table. Well, that doesn't really change anything. And in fact, this is nice because they actually already told us our y-intercept. Remember, our y-intercept is where x is 0. If we look, we can see every time we move here, x is changing by +1. So we're moving to the right 1. Right? What's happening with y? Y, if we went from 9 to 7, it's going down 2. 7 to 5, it went down 2. 5 to 3, it went down 2. And so that actually lets me know that my change in x is +1 and my change in y is -2. And since slope is change in y over change in x, this is -2 over 1, which is -2. That's the slope of my line. So y equals 2x plus b. Now remember, b is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where x is 0. Well, when x is 0, y is 3. Y equals 2x plus 3 is my equation. Finally, we're going to have two functions. It says your earnings, y, in dollars, for working x hours are represented by the function y equals 6x plus 12. Now think about what that means. Y is money, x is hours. So if I was graphing this function down here on the x-axis, let's go ahead and sketch that in. Here's x. This is time measured in hours. So our independent variable is time. You can work for as long as you want. The dependent variable over here on the y-axis is how much you get paid. The amount of money you get paid depends on how much time you work. And so this is money. Now, it says that you earn 6x plus 12. Well, I'm going to count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And so if I look, here's 12. That's where you start. So apparently if you come into work at all, you get $12. And then every hour after that, you earn another $6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go another hour. That 12 plus 6 is 18, 22, 24. So another hour, and I have this line that looks like this. Okay. And then question A, I guess I skipped to B, but it says question A, who has a higher hourly wage? Well, so this is the earnings of your friend. Let's see. When your friend works 1 hour, they get $9. When they work 2 hours, they get $18. So this went up by 9, this one up by 1. When they work 3 hours, so again up by 1, this one up also by 9. And so what we can see is your friend's earnings are given by y equals 9x, where x is how much time they work and y is how much money they earn. This is their hourly wage, right? They're getting paid $9 every hour. you are only getting paid $6 per hour. So who has a higher hourly wage? Your friend. Your friend has a higher hourly wage. And then it says graph both functions and interpret the graphs. Well, these are points. I could plot them. 1, 9, 0, 0, and 2, 18, and then 3, 27, 26, 28. So 327 is right here. And so your graph is going like this. His graph is going like this. And eventually he'll catch up to you. But because you get $12 just for coming into work, it takes him a little bit more time to earn as much money as you, but he gets paid more per hour. And if we wanted to, we could say, well, when does 6x plus 12 equal 9x? And we could figure out how long it takes him to catch up. And we would subtract 6x and subtract 6x and see 12 equals 3x, divide by 3, divide by 3, and when x equals 4, you will have earned the same amount of money